Welcome to today's episode of Insights with Us. I'm Anastasia, a licensed professional counselor, owner of Happy Mind Wellness Company, a Colorado-based therapy practice, and creator of this podcast. My goal is to help you learn more about yourself. Growth happens when we get uncomfortable, which happens when we sit with new ideas we haven't sat with before. I hope we can work on this journey of personal growth and understanding together. As a disclaimer, there may be swearing in this podcast, but sometimes we get caught up in the human experience. It happens. And sometimes we can talk about difficult or activating topics. So maybe put on some headphones if you need to, and remember that support exists for you if you want it. Today, I will be guiding you through one of my favorite meditations. I learned it during a mindfulness seminar years ago. You can do this no matter where you are, walking, driving, lying on your bed, and it can be useful when your mind gets too loud or your feelings get too strong and you need a break. So let's get started. See if we can build some insight today. Last week, my guests and I named our feelings and shared gratitude for having a safe space with each other where we can show up as our authentic selves. We had no problem sharing our feelings in the environment that we created, even the feelings of stress or anxiety or insecurity. However, in our world, it's not always safe or comfortable. And we might not always be around people who can meet us where we're at and let our feelings exist. There's even a chance that you were raised to never show or express your feelings. And if this is the case, you might feel numb or shut down a lot of the time. And if you start feeling something, there's a good chance that it comes out as anger, because anger is often socially acceptable, and it's easier to feel than something like sadness or grief or loneliness. So if you catch yourself feeling angry a lot, maybe find some curiosity around what's underneath the anger. If you are the type of person that gets overwhelmed by your feelings or even by your thoughts, it can be helpful to step out of your head for small moments and give your body and soul a moment of peace. Today's exercise is meant to be that small break. It is not a solution. It will not fix what you are struggling with, but it is a small band-aid when you need to get through the day. To get started, I invite you to slow down for just a second. If you are walking or working while you're listening, maybe move a little slower or take a minute to pause. If you are sitting or lying down, invite curiosity into your space. See if there is anything you can do to get just a little bit more comfortable. That might be rolling your shoulders, doing a couple stretches, maybe shaking out your hands or taking a drink of water. Find one small movement to give your body some love. And then shift your focus to your breath. Notice where you're feeling your breath most in your body. You might be feeling it in your lungs, in your throat, or maybe the tip of your nose. Notice if you feel it differently on your inhale versus your exhale. And we'll just take a few moments to sit with those sensations that you're noticing. And then I ask that you bring your awareness out of your body for the next few minutes. We are going to start noticing the sounds that are happening around you. And I'd like to start by seeing if you can pinpoint the farthest sound from you. It might be a car driving outside or a bird chirping out your window. It might be somebody walking around in a different part of your building or house. See if you can find the farthest sound. And then bring your awareness a little bit closer. Notice the sounds happening within the space that you are currently in. You might notice the sound of my voice. You might notice a fan or an air conditioner running. You might notice your phone buzzing, or a pet, or a friend making some sort of a noise. And then bring your awareness closer still to the sounds happening in and around you. Maybe you're moving as you're listening to this exercise and you can hear your footsteps, or you run your hands along the couch or your bed and you can listen to what your fingers sound like. Maybe you can hear your breath. Maybe you shift in your chair and it squeaks. I know mine does. What can you hear in and around you? And then we're going to go ahead and broaden that awareness once again, noticing all of the sounds together, from the sounds closest to you all the way to the sounds farthest away. Hear them all together. And then I'd like you to check in and see if any of those sounds are coming from your left. Are any of them coming from your right? Are any of them coming from in front of you? How about behind you? Are there any sounds above you? Or below you? And then once again, allow yourself to notice the sounds all at once, in every direction, left, right, forward, back, above, and below, happening together. And then I'd like for you to take a moment to notice the silence between the sounds. Noticing that the silence itself has a presence that you can be aware of. The lack of sound when a sound stops. And then once again, broadening your awareness, noticing the sound, the lack of sound, the direction, the distance. Notice if there are sounds that you enjoy listening to, or if there are sounds that are kind of grating right now that maybe you wish would stop. Notice it all together. And then I invite you to shift your focus back to your breath once more. Noticing what your breath feels like in this moment. If it's the same as when we started this exercise, or if there's anything different that you can notice. Anything new. Maybe you can notice the slightly cooler air on the inhale and the slightly warmer air on those exhales. And just as we started this exercise, I'd like to end it by checking in with your body once again. If you've been moving throughout this exercise, I invite you to slow down and pause for just a moment and see if there's anything your body wants or needs right here and now. Maybe some more water, maybe a different stretch, maybe it wants to sit down for a second, or if you've been sitting, maybe it wants to stand. Maybe it's asking for some stillness. Whatever you're noticing, whatever feels right, whatever movement you want, let it be okay to do that movement, to give your body what it needs. Hopefully, you were able to slow down and find some curiosity in your environment today. And remember that this is a tool that you can use anytime you need a break from your mind. It is not a solution, but it is a quick Band-Aid in a pinch. And it'll help you give yourself permission to slow down when you need to. Maybe you can try it on your own sometime this week. And if you have any questions for this podcast or any themes you'd like us to focus on in the future, send us a message on Instagram at insightswithuspodcast or send us an email at insightswithus@gmail.com. If you enjoyed this podcast and want to hear more, please follow, like, or subscribe. If you want to support the continuation of this podcast, you can donate. To do so, visit my website and donate on Podbean's Patreon program or find Insights with Us on buymeacoffee.com. I appreciate you, and I appreciate that you are listening. Thank you for creating insight with us.